Okay. So our subject today is thinking your thoughts, and this is the second part of this subject, thinking your thoughts. Looks like an oxymoron, but I think we need to think our thoughts. I don't know what you think. Do you think we need to think our thoughts? You see, I wonder why people don't get that joke. You need you need to get the joke. Why you think, or give me some reasons. Can you think of some reasons why we need to think our thoughts? Now, there is one single element that can make the world a better place. There is one simple element that can improve our enjoyment of the world, and it can also exponentially increase our success and happiness. The good news is that this element is something that we learn. And in this session, I will tell you what element is. I'll also tell you the negative results of that element and how it can be learned. It will help us to think more clearly. It will help us communicate more effectively, foster even unity in group settings. You see the problems of politicians of polarizing and dividing statements. It's usually a lack of this element, but also it will help us live more successful lives. In the previous session, we saw how a lot of unhappiness and poor performance, negative outcomes of emotional and behavioral issues like addiction, mental health, they result from twisted thinking. And we defined twisted thinking. I'll just go through this again so that it makes a good background, but not too much. So if you want to get the whole detail, you can look at part one of thinking our thoughts. We saw that there is twisted thinking is where you come from an activating event to directly the consequence. For example, something makes you feel everyone hates you. I said something makes you feel. It's not the truth. So you end up being aggressive, angry, you start attention seeking, or you feel you're not good enough. You feel empty, or something frustrates you in the office. You go to social media, or you start withdrawing yourself, or you start thinking about suicide. We say you come from A to C, activating event to consequence. While correct thinking, you know, moves in the alphabetical order. There is an activating event. You start feeling empty about something. You feel like everyone hates you, or you feel, but you decide how you want to act on that feeling. So you put a belief after the activating event, and then the belief modifies the consequence. See, that means you decide how you feel in the presence of the activating event. So you hold a belief about the activating event. That belief B modulates the A and changes the C. For example, everyone hates me. Okay. So I base my belief on I have not met everyone yet. So evidently that thought is not even true. Number two, their hatred must not mean I am useless or I must not act as if I believe that their hatred should affect me. So the result or the consequence is something I choose out of my option. So in this, what was it? Activating event. Maybe the boss gave me a negative review. So the consequence would be, okay, let me just improve on the review. It doesn't even matter whether it hits. Now, we have mentioned some of the manifestations, and this is something you need to know. Why a lot of people are unhappy. One of them is all or nothing thinking. It's a twisted thinking, resulting in low self-esteem, procrastination, it interferes with the goals, and even suicidal thoughts. We gave an example in the previous video, but we also corrected it. And that correction is the one that I want you to pick for today. I want it now to be clearer. When you think everyone hates you, you can correct that and say, I haven't found someone yet who cares about you. But you also don't need to look for someone who cares about you. You can further correct that and say, it is my responsibility to care for people. It is not their responsibility to like me. You see, these things of posting things on social media, and then you go back looking if someone has liked it. It's a negative thinking. Or someone tells you you are stupid. If you take that thing, that belief is so bad. There's no way someone can tell you you're stupid. It might mean The person has been with you in, let me see if Annabelle can understand. Annabelle, if I say you are stupid, what thought starts coming into your mind? Let me just see your responses. And maybe after this lesson, you'll be out there looking for all twisted negative things and you'll be seeing a lot of them. Let's say someone tells you you are stupid. What is your first thought about that? You are stupid. I would like to hear from you. Let me tell you how I would load that statement. I would start thinking, okay, were we in an examination room? No. So what parameters did you use to judge my stupidity? So I just keep thinking. I just keep thinking. Then I start thinking, okay, let's suppose it was academic. Have you sat with me in all classes from class one, all subjects, and you have constantly defeated me as a proof that I am stupid? Okay, even if you defeated me, it just means you are number one and I could be number two if we sat those classes. So between number one and two, who is stupid? It doesn't mean number two is stupid. It just means, and you can see uh, how the whole of that thing falls. So you can't ever come to that conclusion. And I want you to see that there are others like overgeneralization, making a serious assumption based on few instances. Can you type for me some of the overgeneralizations you've seen so far in your environment? Mhm. For example, men are dogs. Don't trust anybody. Really? I think we need to correct some of those. You never will do the right thing, like the prophet of yesterday. Interestingly, some of these things are even in the Bible. And the one that I'm giving today is a serious one at the cost of all the chaos we have in the world one. I want you to pay attention, I'll give it at the end. So when someone tells you you never, you always, those are twisted thinking. For example, you never come home late. Really? Do you think I never come home late? It may be I have not, I may not have come as often as you like, but I occasionally come home early and something like that. Can somebody correct for me this one? Because this is the one that leads people to suicide. They say there is no way out of this problem. Gilbert, give me a correction of that or somebody else. Just type for me a correction of that. I want to type that one. So why we need to correct this thing? And today I'll tell you the basis, okay? The main thing that controls our ability to manage our thoughts and emotions and how we can grow it. Okay. I'm waiting for someone to help me. Help me correct. This is a twisted thing. When you reach a point and say there is no way out, that is twisted. I'm waiting for somebody just to go to the chat and type for me. What do you think is the correction of that? Can I give you another one? She is perfect. You see somewhere there, someone is making a presentation, and you start daydreaming that she's perfect. Give me can you correct those thoughts? Now, uh, of all the things in this world that anybody needs to develop, they need to develop something called emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence improves a lot of things in this world. One, it improves outcome of life, of academics, of work. In fact, they say your first job will be gotten out of your IQ. But how you progress in that job is a result of EQ. If any of you is unmarried and you're looking for a woman or a man, your top priority should be looking for EQ in that person. Now, what is EQ? EQ, one of the ways, in fact, I can give you one of the ways of telling someone EQ is very high, is how they manage conflict. So EQ has 5 parts. One of them is knowing your emotions. Two, managing those emotions. Three, recognizing emotions in others. Number four, managing relationships with others. Number five, motivating ourselves to achieve our goals. And we see that in most of those twisted thinking, it affects how we motivate ourselves towards achieving goals. For example, we had disqualifying the positive. we discussed that. I don't know if you remember, where you know that there is benefit. Let me see if we can I can remind you of that. Uh, you know that there is benefit of exercise, all right? Disqualifying the question. There is benefit of exercise, but you start saying, while I know exercise is beneficial for my health, but the hassle of waking up early morning is too much. That's what keeps people in addiction. Well, I know coffee is bad for me, but, but, then you start thinking about, if I consider, like if I start, you start thinking about how you feel the withdrawal, and it makes you not achieve your goals. It is acknowledging there is good in something, yeah. The good is objective, but you believe that the good side has no value. Then you disqualify it. It affects your long-term motivation. So you say something like, well, this thing sounds rewarding. Like maybe one day you wanted to wake up. You say, waking up and joining those morning sessions is so rewarding, but I'm so tired. Ah, until you will be absolutely overwhelmed by making the right decision. Here's another example. Giving up on TikTok is good. It will help me with my time. But then you put a but. You see, you've known that they're positive. Then you say, but the fear of missing out. Now, we can correct that thinking. We can say giving up on TikTok has its downside, but the benefit are what the effort. Waking up to do exercise might be difficult. My body might not. That's how I wake up actually. And you need to train yourself to talk to yourself. Talk to yourself about your thoughts. Like waking up early is beneficial. A twisted thinker will say, but I slept late. But today is just something. But I will always catch up. Then you start giving yourself excuses. However, you can say, I may feel tired and I'm like waking up with the rain or whatever it is. However, the joy of achieving my goals. You understand? So you use the same thought pattern to change the outcome. Why this is important is because overall, your emotional intelligence will grow, your emotional intelligence will improve, and emotional intelligence contributes to a successful and enjoyable living than even IQ. The good news is emotional intelligence is not inherited. It is learned and it can be improved. Now, what are some of the major influences of emotional intelligence? One is our beliefs. You can see a big our evaluation of events. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't even evaluate events. Another one is the way we think about problem or self-talks, the messages that we give to ourselves. It is important, therefore, to know how to think through situations, how to modify those thoughts, because some people feel that they are this way or that way, therefore they are unfulfilled. I am not smart enough, or they blame other people. I am not successful enough, so I can't do this. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not as disciplined enough as Andrew, so I can't wake up. No, friend. When you allow yourself to think like that, you're running into an emotional frenzy. Emotional intelligence will help you to think more clearly. In fact, these lessons are meant to improve emotional intelligence, to communicate more clearly. It fosters many, many good things that you need. Now, the last one that I want us to see today, evidently, we see that there are many, many distortions in our brain. There can mind reading. I think I'll do another part to explain the other fortune telling, emotional reasoning. Emotional reasoning, let me just talk about it a little bit. Um, it's what makes people get into a lot of sexual addiction. You feel, so you think you should act on the feeling. But the last one I'll talk about today is magnifications and minimization. And I have a whole lesson, a lot of lessons from the Bible. The Bible says in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is it. We don't think with the thing that beats blood. That's no. It talks about the mind, how you evaluate things, how you look at things, your thoughts, you know. So we remember these guys who went to spy the land and then they saw giants. The issue was that was the activating event. But what was their belief about that activating event? We read Numbers 13, verse 33. Now, and we sat there, we saw the giant that flew activating event, the sons of Anak, they described them, which came of the giant. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. Now, that is their own belief about the event. We were in their own sight as grasshoppers. Consequent. And so we were in their sight. Ah. So it is them who decided we are grasshoppers. Consequence. So even a big thing around you, like lack of money, must not make you feel a failure. Even divorce must not make you feel like a failure. Well, we're not saying that you go and divorce, but I'm just saying that sometimes life hands a giant, something big, something that is challenging. The question is, what are you in its sight? It is Henry Ford who said, "You think you can, or you think you can't. Either way, you are right." Now, there's an old example. This is the oldest example of one of the twisted thinking, and it has landed the world into serious problems. It is called magnification and minimization. This was the devil back in heaven. He said, "I will ascend into heaven, and I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit on the mount of glorification. I will be like the Most High." I think he was magnifying the situation. It is not possible for you to do that. I mean, and it's not just him. Let me give you others. After that, down the line, Babylon, this was Nebuchadnezzar. He rises up and goes to his room and starts saying, "Is this not the Babylon the Great, which I have built with my power?" It's not true that he built it with power. Even if you just look at it, I know he was a great leader, but sometimes we blow things out of proportion. We minimize what is important. We magnify what is not important. And the world today teaches us to operate like that. The world teaches us to focus on you, on yourself, and I. And this self focus, we minimize important things of our environment, what we could do for people, how we could help the world, how we could balance ourselves. And this was the problem in heaven because it is actually the root cause of it is pride. Pride is what makes you to think on what is not important. Pride leads to selfishness. Selfishness leads to jealousy, which leads to hatred, which leads to envy, rebellion, revolution. That's how war showed up in heaven. All the root cause of all these bad things is pride. Now, I read a book that gave symptoms of pride, and I would like to end with those symptoms. If you want to know you are proud or you are maximizing things that are not important, sign number one, trying to be noticed. So here, let me talk to the team that is joining here today. Have you ever found yourself trying to be noticed? Okay. Annabelle, you will have to talk every time. It is you I'll pick on. Have you ever found yourself craving attention, Belinda? Have you ever found yourself itching for compliments, Douglas? Needing to be important? Never. Not, I'm not saying that is who you are. I'm just asking each of you to tell me. Not admitting wrongdoing. Detest, those are signs of pride. Detesting the idea of being submissive. Is there any married person here? A lady most, or being strongly opinionated? It's your way or the highway. You know, you have to contribute to every agenda in the meeting or a board, or demanding your way, or wanting control over others, flaunting your individual rights, even refusing advice. When you see this side, you know, being critical yet resenting what? Criticism. Being oversensitive, a small thing, I have left, you know. And of course, the last one is thinking you have excellencies you even don't have. In one of the sessions, I'll talk to you about Saul, who King Saul, who went into serious mental problem. Hmm. Let me see. Number three, somebody says the number three needs to be looked at. This one of itching for compliment. Yeah, and you can see the devil manufacturing many, many things to help us, to continue. Instead, here is the word of God. Instead, Jesus, even in the most cruel of treatment, let's now contrast our twisted thinking and whether Jesus had emotional intelligence. And then we can close here today. Amidst the greatest opposition, even the most cruel treatment, Jesus was still of good courage. But many of us who profess followers have an anxious, troubled heart because we are afraid to trust ourselves with God. We do not make a complete surrender to Him, for we shrink from the consequences of such a surrender. Unless we make this surrender, we will not find peace. In fact, the desire of ages 3:30, I was reading that, said, he never allowed himself to develop an arrogant sense of pride. Let's read how his heart operated or how his emotions operated. It says, in the heart of Christ, you remember we said, as a man thinketh in his heart, right? In his thoughts, where reigned perfect peace, harmony with God. Oh, sorry, perfect harmony with God. There was perfect peace. Uh-huh. He never, he was never elated by applause. Oh, you have done so well, Jesus. God, man. He was never elated by applause, nor was he even dejected with censure. Oh, that presentation was poor. He will just look at you like, okay, how about? Or even disappointment. Let's finish it. The next part and the last part, it says, when trials arise that seem unexplainable. Let me add a parenthesis there, which will always arise. Somebody says, man is either out of trouble or is always getting into trouble. So when troubles arise, which seem unexplainable, we should not allow our peace. However unjustly we may be treated, let not question arise. By indulging a spirit of retaliation, we do three things. Number one, we injure ourselves. Number two, we destroy our own confidence in God. Number three, we grieve. Hmm, hmm. Those are serious consequences by just getting agitated by things you can't control. No wonder every one of us may have heard of the serenity prayer, which I want us to make. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That is emotional intelligence. Go and think your thoughts. Next time something comes up to you in your mind that seems disorganized, marshal all the emotional intelligence and really analyze how you would act in this situation. Until next time, I'll see